Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Meteorologist Edward Shaw, and yeah, about this weekend, gonna be interesting to say the least. And as we go into this weekend, we get closer and closer to it. We're gonna be talking about the chances of that significant winter storm possibly impacting our area. Now, what we know, the cold air is certainly going to be in place, and the moisture is going to be flowing in from the south, but there's still a few minor details that we got to watch for. So let's talk about the exact setup of this storm. We're going to have three components here. All three are going to be components that we usually see in some of the most significant East Coast storms, especially those that impact our area. First component, that Arctic blast coming in from the north, dropping down temperatures possibly in the 20s here by the weekend. Second component, similar premise, except cold air being wedged behind the mountains, that cold air damming phenomena that we experience here so often and can lead to some pretty significant changes within our types of precipitation. And the third, and one of the most vital components, that ample Gulf moisture coming in from the south, really providing the fuel for this storm. When all three of these components combine, usually we are bound to get some kind of storm. Now, quick disclaimer on the futurecast. A lot of this is going to be very much dependent upon how the next couple days play out in the short term with what's going on out west. As for right now, timing-wise, I like the European model the best when it comes to the timing. I think this is a second half of the day type storm. But again, this could very well change here over the next few days, and I'm showing this for timing purposes, not for the accumulation. As we go into the overnight hours, still watching heavy snowfall come in by about 1 p.m. on Sunday, with a wintry mix further down to the south in the major areas such as Charlotte and Raleigh. And then we go to about Monday early morning, midnight, and the snow starts wrapping up, and then we're dry by about 1 p.m. on Monday. Now, the comparisons of this storm right now between the GFS and the European model, vastly different, much more different than where they were at as we talked about this yesterday, as the GFS has taken a little bit of a shift southward, which in turn for us would keep us within the single-digit range for most of the region, but we could still see some significant snowfall that gets close to about 12 inches, possibly down further towards parts of the south side along the Virginia-North Carolina border. The European model, very different, brings in more significant snowfall further to the north, and that continues to be the case with this most recent model run for the European model. You saw it there on those snowfall estimate graphics, but the paths for these storms, again, this GFS takes a little bit more of a southerly track with a little bit of an earlier start time and an earlier end time, with that system starting to wrap up here by about the late day Sunday, whereas the European keeps a lot of the moisture in place until early Monday morning. Less snowfall with the GFS for our area, but a lot more snowfall with the European model, with the chance for some crippling ice to parts of the southeast, all the way up from northern Georgia into the Carolinas. Significant ice accumulations would be possible with the European model. It'd be possible with the GFS model as well, but just a little bit further to the south. Now, this is a graphic that usually when we have winter precipitation, we show it, and you can see variable amounts, but rarely this early on do we already see a near 100% chance of at least an inch or two of snow by the end of this week. But watch what happens when we go to the next unit up, which is the odds of 6 inches of snow here by the end of the week. And those numbers are a lot more striking, anywhere from about 75% above that into the 80% margins here. Keep in mind, we're still multiple days out from this event. Usually this number's a little bit lower by then. Again, it could very well change, but that's where we're at right now. As for odds of a foot of snow, give or take 50% with a lot of what we could end up seeing. It's still entirely too early to determine the exact measurement of how much snow we get, but it's certainly possible we could be experiencing up to about a foot of snow. Not without a realm of possibilities, we could be anywhere from the upper 8 to 9 inch range into the foot range, possibly even more. But regardless how much snow we get, it's going to be enough to be very inclement for our area. especially as we get into the early next week when temperatures, they're not going to warm up all that much. So in summary, what we're going to end up seeing here between the two tracks is going to be two vastly different timing and location when it comes to the GFS and with the Euro. Other models are more in line with what the European model is saying, but again, a lot can change here over the next few days. That's why you don't see a snow forecast out yet. We are confident we are going to get some kind of significant weather event here over the next few days as we go into this weekend. But again, talking about that setup once more, you notice that we have the three components we need for a winter storm that ends up producing pretty significant impacts to the eastern coast, with some possibilities for some pretty significant ice accumulation further to the south. We're going to continue to watch this as it unfolds here over the next few days. But again, going to want to prepare just in case early on. You're better safe than sorry. And regardless whether this is 5 inches, 10 inches, 15 inches, or possibly more, it's going to be an impactful storm, and one that could very well disrupt a lot of what goes on around here in southwest and central Virginia, as well as most of the mid-Atlantic.